Salisbury Cathedral emailed me and said that they'd come across this enormous ironwork cross in one of their stores. We all realised it was on top of a screen that was set up in Salisbury Cathedral in about 1870. It was designed by George Gilbert Scott and made by Francis Skidmore of Coventry.
It had an incredibly corroded surface, very rusty, very dusty surface, very powdery surface. All of the original beautiful decoration which we now know it had was completely concealed.
We'd already X-rayed the cross, so we knew quite a lot about its structure and how the component metal parts were screwed onto a wooden core. So it was quite an effort to take it apart piece by piece.
One of these that's come off is actually copper alloy. Everything else is iron, which is interesting. We discovered that it isn't all cast iron. There are some plaques on the sides that are actually brass. Where the wood was in contact with the iron, it turned black, but where it was in contact with the copper alloy, it was as fresh as when it was first cut.
It was really important to have a clear map reference for the reassembly. And bear in mind the disassembly of the cross was only one part and the first part of the process, so it was so important that those labels that we put on each and every element stayed through the process.
Before we took the cross apart, we made very careful decisions about which parts we would keep exactly as they were so that future generations would realise what the cross looked like when we acquired it.
The next stage was cleaning all the metal elements, and we decided to use dry ice cleaning. The dry ice sublimes and turns into a gas, and it's actually this physical action of turning from the dry ice into a gas that cleans the surface, and it's very, very gentle.
It was really, really good. It really revealed the paint and some of the original gilding. We sent one of the best preserved plaques with the paint colour to a company in Scotland that colour matches exactly, and they do historic paints.
We really wanted to use the same paint as had been used by Skidmore's craftsmen. It had been an oil paint, and obviously oil paint has quite a long drying time, so it was just making sure that we were organised to allow enough time to dry before the gilding process.
One very unusual feature of the cross is that it had pairs of brass leaves at the ends of its arms, but a lot of those were missing. So we used 3D printing to model replacement leaves.
They couldn't actually do a 3D scan using a laser because the shape was so weird. So what they've done is they did a CAD drawing, and they did a 3D print in plastic of the CAD drawing, and we used that as our model.
So again, with the gilding process, we really wanted to use the same techniques that Skidmore's craftsmen had used, a process known as oil gilding. You apply a mordant, a glue made of linseed oil that takes 12 hours to set. Then you have a gilding window, a window of 4 hours, in which time the surface is just right for applying that gold leaf. Gold's picked up with gilder's tip and laid on to the mordant. It was a very, very satisfying part of the process to see all the elements laid out, painted and gilded.
We took the decision to reassemble the cross in the galleries in public view, partly so the public would understand all the processes that we had gone through, but also because logistically it made it much easier to move the wooden core and then start assembling the cross very near the place that it would be displayed.
So this is quite a satisfying moment, because this is the bit we were most worried about, to be able to finally take off the labels. So here we go.
The tag could be removed, we knew it had got back into the original location, and piece by piece we started to realise quite how wonderful the finished product was going to look. We applied the elements of the top of the cross first, and I think probably the most exciting part for everybody was then actually uprighting it, because we'd never actually seen it in the upright position. So it was really the first time we were beginning to get a sense of how it would look when it finished. 28.
27 to the end.
27.
Okay.
The initial work that we put in really paid off, because when it came to the reassembly, we really felt like a well-oiled machine during that process.
So 71 is that corner. It's nice to screw the part onto the core and then just tick it off the list as you go through.
The cross for now is a highlight of the ironwork galleries. It's a wonderful example of Gothic revival brilliance, really, and technically very impressive too.
I know it's taken 6 months. It's actually gone really quickly. Something like this can easily take a couple of years.
It's not every day in our field that we see such a dramatic transformation. I've really enjoyed every minute of it. I'm very sad it's coming to an end.